Yo, ladies and gentlemen, experiencing a few technical difficulties last minute. You know how it is. Welcome to the New York live stream, guys. My days, man. Mike, you ain't going to be happy about this, bro. I need to flip the chart over straight away, man. Things ain't doing so great on my end. Computer decides to just bail out on me, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be flipping it over to the good old new setup, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on? I hope everyone is doing well. What is happening? What is happening? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Florida in the house. What is happening? Boomers unite. You know what it is, guys. What is good, man? We're back to it, ladies and gentlemen. I need to have a conversation with Mike, man. My days. We have got a bit of a situation. We need to get something sorted out, Mike. Big time. Very much. It's going to be a nice little conversation we're going to have, bro. I'll tell you that. But what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? What is people saying? Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world, guys. We got a lot to get through. Good morning. What is happening? Wait for the pattern watchers to roll in. Bufo on the beat. What you heard? I heard first 23K, then 19K, and if we don't hold it, we make a new lower lows. Ladies and gentlemen, whether it's 23, 22, 9, 6, 12, 0, ladies and gentlemen, the one thing that I want to put into your minds is the idea of movement. This is what traders want. They want movement. No more opinions, guys. We may have an opinion on where we think it's going to go at a particular point in time, but we ain't interested in people's opinions of value because Bitcoin ain't there yet as a storehouse of value. People talk about it being a storehouse of value, but quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, if you are here as a trader, then all you seek is movement. Yep. The streets are talking, yeah? Wicked. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today's live stream is going to be a brief overview on what we are likely to expect moving forward with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has respected that 20K range, and I'm going to be diving into a few concepts just to help you be aligned with what is likely to happen, given that we have got some news announcements. Now, this week, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get straight to it. Mad love and respect to all my pattern watchers passing through. Here we go. So this is what we've got. Coming in at 3 p.m. today, ladies and gentlemen, just shy of 54 minutes away from the consumer confidence report for the US and the Jolts Job Openings that will be released at 3 p.m., ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a very important reading because the problem that we've got is this. If people are all good with the idea of inflation and people are all still in work and they are getting jobs, then we're going to have a problem because ideally the Fed would want to see a reduction, or should I say an increase in unemployment rate. But if the unemployment rate is dropping, then they ain't going to be able to control that inflation regardless of how expensive or how much they increase the interest rates. And as Mr. Powell said it, this week, with all the plethora of data that is coming out, you can see what's coming out, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the unemployment claims coming out on Thursday, the ISM manufacturing, and then, of course, these two important readings, non-farm employment change again on Friday, and the unemployment rate. This is going to be dictating what Bitcoin is likely to do for the rest of the month. Why? Well, we need to dive over to Bitcoin very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. Just understand something that is very important. This is Bitcoin right now on the monthly time frame. Now listen, based on the principle of the hybrid system, ladies and gentlemen, this red vector candle has one more day left to be a fully fledged red vector candle. Now, Bitcoin, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, if we come out of this area right here, you can see that Bitcoin's done a good job of rejecting this area. Okay. Now, we did talk about this not so long ago, and we said that if Bitcoin does invalidate this price range right here, then we're going to have a problem going into the start of next month because Bitcoin is likely to start working this area down here where the liquidity resides. All right. So we have got now, in essence, 55 minutes or so, or just about 55 minutes before the news announcements comes out. And what I like to encourage people to do is to go into the idea that is price being set up for a reversal, or is dollar going to be king yet again, ladies and gentlemen? All right. So the first thing that we really want to do, guys, is we want to dive into where the liquidity resides on Bitcoin right now. Okay. So this is what we like to look for. Don't you worry, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be bringing up that book map for you. Don't worry. We've missed the book map dearly. Trying to make sense of that madness in the chart, ladies and gentlemen. What's good? What's good from New York? What is happening? So, Bella B, what's good? Who else is in the room with me today? Man, what's going on with this? Let me just refresh this bad boy here. Okay. Sorry for the lag, ladies and gentlemen. This is the problem with this website. Anyways, we'll get to that in a split second. It should be coming up very shortly. No, ain't working for us. All right, then, cool. No problem. So, as I said to you, one more day until the red vector candle on the monthly time frame is going to be finalized. Be mindful when we come towards the last few moments of the monthly candle, it will start to do something very interesting. Pay close attention to that. Okay, now let's just go into our day trades and have a look at where's Bitcoin at right now. As you can see, Bitcoin on the daily time frame has done well to come away from this zone. All right. Had a strong open on the daily candle itself, ladies and gentlemen, and principle would have it that we would expect Bitcoin to move back up if it's rejecting last week's low. So it's coming away from that point. So the narrative is showing that Bitcoin is looking to come up. Okay, that's what we would expect. A lot of people are running shorts from this zone, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. So this is BitMEX. Let's just have a look at BitMEX and where the liquidity is at on that zone. And as you can see, we have got roughly 90. See, it's not enough for me. I need Binance, man. Where's Binance up in here? Come on. We'll come back to that in a second. So zooming out, one would assume that on the daily, if Bitcoin can hold this area right here, we would make the assumption that a nice structure like this could be happening. But remember, guys, if the narrative is to push the dollar up and the Fed doesn't look like it's controlling inflation well, then what would look like a W formation could simply end up being a pattern to the downside. Okay? The only way that we can validate that is if Bitcoin breaks the 17,603 range. That's the only way. So we're at a crossroads in principle, ladies and gentlemen. Crossroads point. Is Bitcoin going to hold from this zone and move up? Or is it going to continue lower? The only way that Bitcoin will continue lower is based on the news announcements that comes out over this week. So we need to understand what's going on across the board so that we can work out if we're being set up for a trap or not. Go over to the dollar dominance chart. What do you see? Now, dollar dominance looks like it's structurally forming this M formation right here, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if I remove all of this stuff right here, you can see that we took out that 109 zone. Happy days. But that's too much strength in the dollar. Now, when we're looking for price movement in the dominance of the dollar itself, remember the dollar dominance chart itself, the actual index is made up of a basket of Forex pairs. Euro USD, GBP USD, CAD, Swiss, dollar itself, yen, okay? And how all those assets transact are going to reflect on how often bigger players between banks are seeking the safety of the dollar, all right? So the news that's coming out very shortly, ladies and gentlemen, can we make the assumption that the information that's going to come out is being designed to send the dollar back up by principle of the vector candle with the imbalances in the chart? Now, you can see that the dominance of the dollar has brought price back into this green vector candle zone. So if the news comes out not favorable for the dollar, we would expect that the dominance of the dollar to kick in because they want the safety of the dollar. But if it comes in strong for the dollar itself, we will get a short-term move down for the dollar, come back into the recovery of the vector zone right here for them to initiate the reversal back up. Because you're dealing with two instances. The usual scenario, if the dominance of the dollar was not present, ladies and gentlemen, whatever news is bad for the dollar is good for assets against the dollar. So you would naturally expect assets like Euro USD to come up, GBP USD to come up, Bitcoin to come up. Now, if we look at Bitcoin on the daily time frame, on the 1 hour time frame, you can see that Bitcoin has a wonderful vector candle imbalance in the chart, which leads me over to help you guys understand how likely is Bitcoin going to come up based on the trigger of the news announcements that is coming out very shortly. All right. So check this out. The Jolts Job Openings, which is released at 3 o'clock, it's released late, but can impact the market because job openings are a leading indicator of overall employment. All right. So if there is a lot of people going into jobs, all right, then the reading for the non-farm employment change will show an increase of people going into work, which would then mean that the unemployment rate is going to come in lower. That's a problem for the Fed. Because how are they going to control inflation if people have still got the money to pay? This is the question. Okay? Now, check this out. Let's go over to EXO charts for my guys who like EXO. What does EXO charts tell you? Now, my settings on EXO charts is purely delta dominant based on the tick chart of 2,600. In essence, each candle is 2,600 ticks. What does that tell me? So look at each candlestick. It's not like for like in the chart. No, because this candlestick right here took 26 minutes to be completed. All right. This candlestick took 39. This candlestick took 49 minutes. So the idea is to understand the relationship between Mr. Market Maker hitting the bids and lifting the ask. When we say hitting the bids, it means that when traders are selling, Mr. Market Maker is hitting the bids. He's encouraging people to sell because the only way that they can sell is if there's someone buying. Now, if you look, when the bids are being hit, the negative delta presents itself. Here's an example. This is the red delta. Look, people are selling aggressively in this zone. Mr. Market Maker is buying because you can't sell if no one buys. Negative delta, 34%, 15, 31, 44. It's increasing. Why does it always reverse when it's been hit aggressively? That's Mr. Market Maker trapping the retail trader to believe price is going lower. And that's the perfect time for him to get hold of people's liquidation points when they've opened shorts, which leads me over to this chart right here, ladies and gentlemen. In front of you, we have Bitcoin and the liquidation zones in Binance. Nearby, at the 20,600 zone, there's $569 million worth of short liquidations at 20,600. Go and mark that on your chart, ladies and gentlemen. Mark off the 20,600 zone. So let's do that all together. That's where the $500 million worth of short liquidations are in the chart. Look how close it is. Look where liquidity resides. We then correlate that over to the book map. Look at that. 20,600. Look at the range. Look where the liquidity sits at. This is where traders are placing orders. There's 2,135 Bitcoin at 20,670. Above that, there's at 20,700, there's 1,247 Bitcoin waiting to be filled. Up here are the sells. Down here are the buys. These are limit sells and limit buys. Are you with me, ladies and gentlemen? What is happening? What's good, James? Mr. Dutch is in the room. Mike Freeman, what you got for me? Tino, does this daily structure looks more and more like Wyckoff accumulation? If we take out 17 low, it can be just another liquidity grab before making it to the 27 zone for the weeks to come. Mike, listen, I do not disagree with the logic of the Wyckoff method, okay? But at the same time, on what principle are you applying it on? Daily, weekly, monthly, hourly, 4 hourly, 5 minute, 10 minute. There will always be a different representation of price, ladies and gentlemen, but ultimately we need to understand how the business works. 95% of all institutional traders use the VWAP. Okay, they base their decisions on the VWAP, which is this white line right here, ladies and gentlemen. And the principle says that when it's below, when price is below the VWAP, this is an opportunity for the institutional traders to buy. When it's above the VWAP, it's an opportunity for them to sell. We've got to try and understand the difference between the two on the imbalance that happens away from the actual VWAP and towards the VWAP, and we can exploit that. So as day traders, there's a lot more information. Now, Wyckoff itself, over a period of time, it's going to play out sometimes, all right? But you've got to have the patience to be able to sit and absorb that sort of play, okay? And trading itself is all about patience, and it's the last thing that people focus on when they come to the game of trading because they want the money yesterday. And that's the truth, ladies and gentlemen, okay? So we know in the chart, guys, we have got $500 million worth of short liquidations up here in this point in the chart at 20,600. Yeah, 569 million. But what about down below? We have ourselves, and we expand the chart and you'll see. We have ourselves a nasty $740 million worth of long liquidations at 20,007. So we need to go into the chart and mark off 20,007, which will put us into this zone right here, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm doing is I'm helping you understand where and how likely Mr. Market Maker is going to run price towards these zones. So for my traders who are looking at how to exploit this sort of narrative, go down to the lower time frames. They tell you don't look at the lower time frames because it's too chaotic. No, it's not. You have more information. All right? Look at this. Inside of this zone, you can see that Bitcoin is trying to edge upwards. Is he trapping the trader? Is Mr. Market Maker trying to trap the trader with the belief that price is going to continue higher? Where does it look like we are actually building shorts or building longs? We tried to get above the 20,500 zone, and we didn't do that successfully. So could one make the assumption that Bitcoin is getting ready to run lower? Are they building shorts in this zone? At the same token, we've got a red vector candle in this zone and price is stuck at the 50 EMA and shows strength at the daily open. Cool. So we've had the first test of the daily open for the day. We had the open over here. They come down, rejected, and made their way back up and hit 1, 2, 3 hits to the high with this imbalance of this red vector candle in the range. Now, the reason why Bitcoin is trading sideways, ladies and gentlemen, is because we've got news announcements coming out which can actually rock the market. If we go across to the NASDAQ itself, we're going to understand. And as I said to you, the most important thing that you've got to be aware of, ladies and gentlemen, when you do come to these charts, pull up and have a look at what the 10-year yield is doing. If the yields are going to be increasing, and if this figure goes to 3.5, ladies and gentlemen, which Wall Street is sort of projecting that it's going to be the case because of the hawkish stance of the Fed, then that, ladies and gentlemen, is just going to lead the NASDAQ to take an absolute phenomenal nosedive. Why? Because investors will be seeking more value-based stocks as opposed to tech stocks, because tech stocks usually bring shorter-term returns, and they are quite volatile. But when things are uncertain, traders or investors, institutional fund managers are going to be seeking much more safer options given the current circumstances. So that would then lead the NASDAQ to take a nosedive to the downside. Now, NASDAQ has already come back and recovered one vector zone and is bouncing away from this area as a standard retrace, given that it's had its worst month for a very long time in August, a very bad month for August in the NASDAQ. They hit the vector candle point. Now they're looking like they want to try and come back up and balance the range. They've got to bring it back into the reversion of the mean. Next zone would see it at 12,300. And then, of course, you've got the daddy vector down here, which sits at the 11,600 zone, which was the last low for the NASDAQ to bounce away from. From this zone here, ladies and gentlemen, all the way up, okay, is approximately $7 trillion worth of value in the stock market. This move up. That's why Wall Street is a bit concerned, because $7 trillion worth of liquidity has come back into the stock exchange, and now they're having a problem given that it's already absorbed. Let's just have a look. Let's get a Fibonacci, find a 50% point of that. They have already recovered 50% of that move to the upside. So let's just make the assumption that half the liquidity has left the marketplace. That is sad days for institutional fund managers managing people's money and having to tell them, sorry, man, you've lost half your investment. That's a sad day, ladies and gentlemen. Going back into Bitcoin, let's just break down the narrative of how likely Bitcoin may be coming back up and trying to exploit this vector candle zone with this wick. Let's make the assumption, ladies and gentlemen. All right? What if the news comes out favorable for Bitcoin and Bitcoin comes up? They would have then tested the 50 EMA on the 4-hour time frame, which is the 200 EMA on the 1-hour time frame. Price action is looking staggered. It ain't doing nothing, ladies and gentlemen. We would get more action watching paint dry. That's the truth. Is our lady Ethereum doing anything? No. She's just sat there chilling, sort of recovering this green vector candle, coming back into more, not so much 50% of the recovery of it, but we've got a bit of confluence here, given that we have yesterday's high. We've got the 200 EMA, the 13 EMA, looking like momentum has stopped. It's consistent with them waiting for news. Now, coming in towards the last few moments of news, ladies and gentlemen, just before it comes out, you're going to start seeing some movement across the board. Usually the dollar index, given that it's a basket of assets, usually you see the dollar index itself move first. There have been times when I've been waiting for Euro USD to make a move based on news announcements. I see the dollar index itself move down lower and then quickly come back up. That sort of gives me a clue of what the sentiment is. And then before you know it, dominance of the dollar rolls over. They gave us that clue in the last few minutes of news. Okay? Mr. Market Maker knows what the results are, but he can't make it obvious because he will then crash the market. He has to make sure that he has a balance of orders between this range, which is why when you trade news announcements, ladies and gentlemen, you always see price going spike up, spike down, because that's how he gets his orders filled. He has got orders stacked inside of various assets like so. Okay? Same with Bitcoin. He's got orders all over the place. Now, we know at 20,600, there's nearly $500 million worth of liquidation points. And then at 20,007, there is $500 million, $750 million worth of liquidation points for the longs. Which one are they going to go for, given that price action is flat right now? Amongst yourselves, ladies and gentlemen, how many of you believe that Bitcoin will run to the 20,600 zone? How many of you believe that that's going to be the case? Type 1. Type 1 if you believe it's going to hit 20,600. Type 2 if you think it's going to hit 20,007. Because we've got more long liquidations than we do have shorts. But the short liquidations, okay, are closer. And we've got this conundrum right now, ladies and gentlemen. We don't know which one it's going to be. Now, we've got another 6 more minutes until the market opens, the futures markets itself. Let's go and have a look at Euro USD for a split second. Where's your thoughts at? Where are your thoughts at? Here we go. So we have got a lot of people think it's going to go run towards that 20,600 zone. All right, let's go to the book map itself and understand that logic. What is the book map showing me? Now, I need to zoom in closer to the book map. We've just had now 744 Bitcoin coming in at 20,240. Because if they're going to run for that liquidity down below, then we would want to see more liquidity down here. 11111. Mad ones. Mad ones are coming in. It's going to liquidate everyone. Okay, look at the book map. 2,093 Bitcoin at 20,680. Then at 20,700, we got 1,250 Bitcoin. It's fluctuating between that 1,250 zone. Now, what is it that we need to be aware of? Just because the liquidity is there doesn't mean that it's going to be taken. But if we put 2 and 2 together, we can understand that if there are people up here selling, then naturally, Mr. Market Maker is going to want to bring price further up to take that 20,600, trigger the liquidations up here, use the liquidity from the liquidation points of the guys who put a load of margin up to offset his shorts, and then realize a return back down on the traders who are in the belief that price is going to continue higher. So the same players down here with $750 million worth of long liquidations are adding to their positions. Think about it. You want to go out with a bang? That's how you do it. But ladies and gentlemen, it could all reverse. The news could come out and they could just simply spike lower to spike back up. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, this is the truth of the markets. And if you ain't like that and you're not aligned with that sort of way of thinking, then you're going to have a hard time navigating the markets and making a decision, because you'll be looking for the perfect entry, and there's no such thing as a perfect entry. It's all about execution, ladies and gentlemen, accuracy. The way you judge accuracy of a move or a trade is how long do you spend in a drawdown. If you've opened a trade, ladies and gentlemen, and price pulls back and it's been pulling back and it's been like that for 2 hours, your accuracy is a little bit off. Now, granted, if it does come back up again, happy days. But what if you're in a drawdown for a day, 2 days? So you need 2 days to work out if you are in the right trade or not. Had you have worked out a stop, in other words, let's assume you went long from this point. At what point would you assume that you would change direction if you were looking to take advantage of a move going down lower in the basis that they don't go higher? Something that I encourage the patrons of the channel to do is to mark off the entry point that you have and go towards where you would place a stop. So you always place a stop outside of a certain structure. So let's make the assumption that this is our structural point. So we base it at the midpoint of the vector candle zone. So principle would say that if you were to place a long inside of this zone, this would be the halfway point of the move where you would say, okay, do I cut my losses and change direction, or do I hold out? Do I think it's still going to go up? You have to have structure on where you think price is going to lose the most amount of money for you in your trade. Because if you don't have an idea of where you would get out, even if you've got profit in the trade, you ain't getting out. You will leave the money in there because you will want more, and more. The game is all about psychology. You hear me say it. You hear many people say trading's all about psychology, bro. It's 90% psychology, 10% technical. No, I would say it's 99% meta. That's all it is. It's all about the meta game of trading, because you are placing bets and orders where someone thinks it's going lower, but you think it's higher, and you're trying to work out how many more people are favoring higher against lower. And we know the hybrid system gives us the clue that Mr. Market Maker will show his presence in these sort of zones. We don't look at these green vector candles and say, yeah, Bitcoin to the moon. We're preparing for price to go lower. But the moon boy will see those big green candlesticks and say, Bitcoin to the moon, ladies and gentlemen, and start smashing it out all on Twitter and start telling everyone, yeah, happy days, Bitcoin's going to go to 35, 40K. Man, are you mad? The game is not that gullible. We are all gullible as a whole. But I'm sorry, man. The game of trading has to be respected. That's the truth. Let's get rid of all these lines right here, ladies and gentlemen. We are now going into the last minute. We've got the futures markets opening. We're now going to see some movement in the charts. This is when I start speeding things up, ladies and gentlemen. 20,600 would be where the next pool of liquidity is for Bitcoin, for those longs to get, the shorts to get liquidated. And we got that bad boy at 20,007, which has only just shy of $1 billion worth of long liquidations. Let me bring up the good old bookmap to understand the narrative. We are now stuck at the VWAP itself, ladies and gentlemen. Mad love and respect for people passing through to today's live stream. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are new, make sure you Will Smith that like button, ladies and gentlemen. It costs you nothing to do, and it's literally there available in the figuration of a thumb. Happy days. It helps with the algorithm, but it helps other people understand where the fire is at in crypto, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm not one to make any claims or anything like that, but I do my hardest to make sure that you guys are of the understanding of how this game works, and I feel I'm doing a really good job at least getting that point of view across to you. Yes, it might sound like I'm going at speeds of light, ladies and gentlemen, but you know what? If you don't listen quick, you ain't going to learn quick. And that's the truth, ladies and gentlemen. If you really need me to slow down, just reduce the speed of the video and you'll understand it in a much better, clearer context. But I sound a bit stupid when I speak really slow. I sound even funnier when I speak really fast. Anyways, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We got the New York futures markets open right now. VWAP is flat. Price ain't doing anything. I'm not seeing no delta coming in just yet. 520 Bitcoin stacked at 20,350. I got this disgusting order down here at 20,250, which is 756 Bitcoin in that zone, which means that if Bitcoin's going to come back down lower, looking on the smaller time frames, do we have any vector candle zones that we are likely to see getting recovered? Bitcoin making a move right now, ladies and gentlemen. We want to see it come above that VWAP right there, man. Remember, we're in the Brinks box itself, ladies and gentlemen. We've got pools of liquidity up at the top side in this area here at 20,535, which is not anywhere close towards the 20,600 where we know where the liquidity is stacked at. First zone would be, if this move sustains itself, coming up towards this vector candle zone at 20,429, and then of course 20,486 where the vector candle recovery point is going to reside. Remember, we have got news announcements coming out very shortly, guys, so the dominance of the dollar might actually start taking to its narrative. They've already recovered the red vector. They've left another zone right here, sold off aggressively, but could not get beyond that point. What is gold saying right now, man? Gold is now dropping down lower, coming into that vector candle zone. If gold drops, that's a problem for Bitcoin. Let me have a look at the S&P itself, coming down sharply. Another day, another bleed on the stock market. More money is leaving. Is that 3.5% happening? US yield still moving up. 3.10's pulled back ever so slightly. We really want to see this stalling, man. I do not want to see this moving up because Bitcoin does not stand a chance, because the sentiment of investors would mean that they are taking their money out of volatile assets, and that would include the NASDAQ, and Bitcoin follows the NASDAQ and the S&P, so that's going to be a problem for BTC, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just have a look at what Ethereum's doing right now. Here we go. So Ethereum ain't doing really much on the hourly. Going to the 5-minute time frame, consolidating price. They ain't doing anything until the news comes out, ladies and gentlemen. Might get a little bit of movement to the upside for Ethereum, but nothing until the news comes out. Bitcoin's going to be the main mover in crypto if it's going to start making that move, ladies and gentlemen. We got some movement right now. Here we go. Nice move. 20,400 coming up above the VWAP itself. Big delta coming into the chart. Green vector candle, ladies and gentlemen. Coming into that 20,500 is what we want. We don't want this to slow down. It has to keep going up. And even if it is a stop hunt, ladies and gentlemen, it's been designed. Big gap up right there. It's going to be designed for the news play itself. Dollar dominance should be dropping right now. Delta's coming in at, where we at with my delta? 808. Bitcoin being absorbed in that zone. Let me just have a look at XO charts for a split second. Here we go. Where you at, XO? Come on, what we got here? 14% delta, big negative push here. Could be another opportunity to add more longs at lower prices by hitting the bids and getting traders to be shaken out of their longs and freeing up more positions. Happy days. 20 million, 30 million. Achieved that candle in 26 minutes. Next candle, 35. Short liquidations are being attacked right now, ladies and gentlemen. So big green vector candle by Bitcoin to the upside. We want to see it come back up above this point where 123 Bitcoin filled at 20,490. If they keep that liquidity stacked up there, ladies and gentlemen, 22,300. 2,035 Bitcoin will be eaten at 20,607, which means that the liquidations of $500 million will be eaten alive. So if you are in shorts, ladies and gentlemen, what do I always say to you, man? Please pay yourselves. There is no victory in having virtual profits, ladies and gentlemen, until it's banked, put into your account for you to do it again. Please always make sure that you do that, man. Please always do that, man. What is hilarious, Mr. Michaels? What is absolute hilarious? What are you saying? I forgot to breathe. Yeah, you know what, guys? My diaphragm is on fire right now. Now Bitcoin has made the move. I can calm down. I can calm myself down. This is on the 5-minute time frame, and let's see, have a look at the hourly itself. See, this is what I don't like. This is a news play move. We've got to be very cautious. No vectors on the 1 hourly. Well, we got 15-minute time frame spiking back up. This is the Brinks box play itself. It's already tapped that vector candle zone, pulled back ever so slightly. The narrative would put that we would expect Bitcoin to move up, to come closer towards that liquidity, to start adding more long liquidations to come and eat that liquidity when the news announcements comes. Ladies and gentlemen, you might not see that much movement coming into this week because of the news announcements coming out. If they're going to really set up price, they're going to set it up in such a way where they are going to want to absorb the most amount of liquidity on the most important of the news itself. And quite frankly, the main news announcements that are going to be coming out this week are all going to be about employment change and, of course, the unemployment rate itself. So Jolts Job Openings is going to give us a clue as to what we are likely to expect in terms of the unemployment rate. And Mr. Williams, if Williams is going to be speaking out, what are they going to be saying at 4 o'clock? So we're getting double whammies today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get some madness in the charts. Let me just have a look. Bitcoin coming up into that yesterday's high. Needs to break above that zone. Where's my liquidity gone? They started to kill off that liquidity down here. No, they're adding to it. 781 right there. They haven't cancelled it. This liquidity is staying static in the chart itself. 2,030 Bitcoin up here. They're taking a reduction. There's 1,381 Bitcoin at 20,700. The principal would say we expect it to come and eat that 20,600. That's where the money resides, ladies and gentlemen. It would only make sense. It's the vector candle recovery in the zone in the chart, man. I will be very surprised if Bitcoin does not take that zone, given that the speed of this move. We have got 25 minutes until the news announcements comes out. If Bitcoin has been set up to drop, ladies and gentlemen, it will be moving aggressively from this zone. That is the truth. Share the stream. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I've been told you got to share the stream so we can get 2K in here. Hit a little milestone on the coming back from my hiatus. What is this? What have you done here, Mike? What's this poll about? Have you liked the stream? No, I do it when Tino says to. I like that. Be sure to like and subscribe. Forget that. Will Smith the live stream, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to ever say like the stream. Will Smith the live stream. You know, slap up your phones. Do something. Actually, don't do that, because then you might do something to your phone, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be liable for it. No, I won't. Take that back. Disclaimer's down at the bottom, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, breathing is overrated, Helen. This is true. Tino, look at bizarre candles. They have lower low and higher than the previous two. The one thing you don't want to be doing is looking too much into the structure of candlesticks on things that have already happened. That's probably confusing you. Why? Because whatever happens in this candle zone right here could be something that is related to a move that happened all the way over here. All right? All you need to do as a person viewing the charts is to understand how fast do they go towards these zones and how quick they come away from them, which gives you the idea that Mr. Market Maker is testing the narrative of traders at the daily open. You see, people would place orders at the daily open to go lower, and people place orders for the daily open for price to go higher. Now, if he's able to trap traders inside of this zone purely on them wicking out this range and not finalizing the candlesticks at the lows, you've got yourself a psychological impact on how likely price is going to continue away from that point based on the interest that Mr. Market Maker was able to grab from that point. In other words, he tried to trap the retail trader to go short in this area, and he didn't finalize through it because he knew that he was able to get more traders in the belief that price was going to go higher from that point. So now he's now got his longs filled at lower prices. Now he's going to encourage retail traders to go long. He can now build his shorts at a higher point, which is what he just did. And now he's recovered the green vector candle and trapped up all those traders that went long from this zone right here. Happy days. Welcome to Mr. Market Maker's madness and trickery, which happens every single second. So how can you tell me that the game of uncertainty itself is something that you can predict? You can't predict uncertainty, but if you are prepared for it, that's a different story. Because if you make decisions quick, then you're going to be able to cut yourself out of that losing trade. Good traders cut their losses. Great traders change direction. And that's a good old Wall Street saying, ladies and gentlemen. And there's a reason for that. What's good? This is... Wish I could got that data stream on Bookmap. Never did manage to find the volumes being traded that you get. So, Clive Adams, I think it's just a case of setup, my friend. I have done a video on that, my man. So, I'll do another video on that narrative on Bookmap itself. But don't worry about it, man. All you need to understand is just the behavior of the candlesticks. These things right here give us an understanding of where the commitment is from the trader. Now that we have got, it's now 20 to 3. We got 20 minutes until the news comes out. I will always say this. Do not have any positions opened prior to the news announcements. Now, look, I say that lightly. You might already be in a position, ladies and gentlemen, okay? And you might be sitting in some good profit. Cool. But what if the news doesn't come out favorable for Bitcoin and Bitcoin takes a sharp, fast move to the downside? What do you do then? You were looking at your profit and it may have said $1,500. Now you're looking at it and it says $700. What do you do there? You would have preferred to have closed it at $1,500, but then you close it at $700 because you don't want to risk losing anymore. But you were happy to lose half of it when it was at the highest point. Why didn't you pay yourself? This has nothing to do with the chart. It's all to do with when you decide to pay yourself. The idea is to stay in the game. Right now, 20,700 and 20,670 are 2-point stopping volume candle right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's a nice little clue by Mr. Market Maker. That is very interesting. Is the stopping volume candle going to be acting as price to prevent it from going lower or higher? This candle will reveal that. But news announcements will always shake out traders because it's the most exciting time in the chart, because news itself always brings volatility. Yes, my friend, cash is a position, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Jesse Livermore said it. He made most of his money sitting on his hands than he did trying to find trades all the time. And that's the problem with the markets, ladies and gentlemen. There is always a time to trade, but not every opportunity is a time to trade. Price goes up, price goes down. You can trade it. Whether you make money on it is a different story, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you always want to be taking trades at the best times. You trade the opens. You trade the Brinks box. Avoid Asia. Asia's the dead gap time. Asia's when they just whip and whack the spreads. Because there's people that think they can outsmart the market and say, right, you know what? This is Asia, for example. I'm going to place a limit buy up here or in a limit sell down here. And then the spread opens up at Asia at 10 p.m. in the evening, UK time. And then the spread is that wide. It triggers the limit order and the sell order at the same time. What'd you do there? Why trade at the time when Mr. Market Maker's asleep? Why would you trade when Steve's asleep, ladies and gentlemen? You think it's going to be easier when Steve's asleep? Nah. It ain't easy when Steve's asleep. Steve set it up because he knows people are going to be running to the charts in the evening because they think the Asian session is there and it's easier to trade. Some people have seen success in the Asian session, but you want to improve the chances of your trades going in your favor? You start trading when the money starts rolling in, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see right now, Bitcoin ain't doing anything right now because we've got news coming out in the next 15 minutes. Happy day. So we sit tight. Give me your coins, ladies and gentlemen, while we wait for that narrative. Give me some coins. Blow up the chat. I'm just going to pull off a random coin. First one we're going to roll with, we're going to go with Solana. Let's have a look at Solana. Here we go. Give me your coins. All right, then. So Solana coming right down and rejecting that 50 EMA on the 5-minute time frame. We've got the 1-hour time frame coming up. Nice clean test away from the 50. 200 EMA would be the next volatile point in the chart. Let's have a look. Coty, seeing the first asset coming up on the stream itself. Coty's coming up. All right, then. So you can see that they are all pretty much doing the same thing. Based on the volatility of news announcements, be mindful of this vector candle zone in altcoins. Altcoins have a tendency to come and test them aggressively. So be very cautious. Psychological high for Coty itself has not been broken, or should I say not been tested and moved away from. It's come back into that zone. But the stopping volume candle principle right there could lead Coty to come back up because they're sort of trying to control the range. Volume is less at this point, which is a good sign when they're trying to mark price down lower. Now, Coty, what else have we got? Matic. Let's have a look at Matic. Matic Network, what have you got? Okay, so we are starting to see vectors being pushed out from the lowest point in the chart itself. Got a big structure right here. It would be ideal to see it coming back up in towards the red vector candle in this range right here, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't broken above that 800 EMA, but the problem that you've got here with Matic, my friend, is this. It's compression. Look, there's absorption right now inside of this area. They're building position, so any spiky move up is going to be met with a move back down because they have got commitment inside of this zone. And, of course, the markets are going to be moving once news announcements comes out. All right, you can see that very true right now. We've got what? Where are we at? 3 p.m., man. We need consumer confidence to be higher. All right, we want it to be higher so we know that traders ain't going to be turning to the dollar anymore. This is the problem with things. Because the news right now is dominated by the dollar itself, it's going to have an impact on whether traders seek the dollar for safety or come away from the dollar and start putting money into other assets against the dollar. Remember, the more valuable the dollar is, the harder it is for foreign borrowers to use it to pick up assets. And if it's too expensive, then you ain't going to see anything moving up against the dollar, ladies and gentlemen. That's the problem that we've got. BNB, let's have a look at BNB. Happy days for Binance coin. What have we got here? $288 per coin itself, coming back up into the red vector candle recovery. Violation of that 800 EMA, non-existent. Can't even get above that point. That is a bit of a problem. Green vector candle pushing price up, which is a bit of a climatic zone, and prices come all the way back down again. Big green vector candle down between the actual psychological range of high and low. So this is going to be a cause for concern if the news doesn't work out favorable. Let me just go over to the totals chart, ladies and gentlemen. That way you're going to have an understanding of where the money is flowing. Here we go. So totals chart. What do you see? You've heard me talk about this before. You are looking for assets that are trading above the 50 EMA on the 1 hour time frame. Cool. So we now need to find those assets. All right. If you find any assets trading above the 200 EMA, and that does not include if the 200 EMA is flat, you don't want that. You want an asset that is pointing upwards, trading above the 200 EMA. Can anyone put that in the chat and tell me if that's going to be the case? Give me an asset that is above the 200 EMA on the 1 hour time frame. BAO. Let's have a look at BAO. Bang. BAO. Is it above it? Is it above it? Happy days. BAO is above the 200 EMA, but the 200 EMA hasn't really seen that much volatility. It's just been swinging up and down. 2 mini W formations. Happy days. Big green vector imbalances in the chart. The principle would have it that we would love to see this continue back up and eat that liquidity in that red vector candle zone, which they've already recovered most of it. And whenever they hit a vector candle zone, ladies and gentlemen, that is usually the signal where they're going to turn because of the release of liquidity in that area. Let's have a look at some Forex. My guys just talked about AUSD. Happy days. Aussie dollar. What have we got? Mad. No, not Kraken, man. What are you doing, bro? Let's go over to FXCM. Happy days. All right, so your Aussie dollar itself taking a bit of a move down lower against the dollar dominance. Okay, so we kind of have a bit of a clue about Aussie and the dollar itself. Aussie usually tends to move a little bit faster, so we usually see the movement happening in Aussie to reflect whether the narrative of the dollar is going to kick in, and it looks like Aussie's coming back down to come and test that daily open itself. It is stuck in a range. It's recovered the vector candle point. There's the proof right there. Hit a vector candle recovery zone. They release the liquidity, and they need to bring things back into the fray. But the 50 EMA, 200, and the 800 are flat. We ain't got no movement in the chart, ladies and gentlemen. Now we need to seek where the value resides in the charts. The way you establish value in the chart, ladies and gentlemen, is a number of ways. You can use the volume profile itself and say, okay, where is value? This is the point of control. Test that zone. Reversal back up to get the interest from these guys right here who stepped in earlier and saw a bit of success, but they didn't pay themselves, and the vector candle comes down and recovers everything. Man, I need to take a breath, man. What on earth is going on? My stomach is so tight right now. I need to slow it down. What we got Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin's coming back down now, and we've got that 15-minute candle. There it is right there. Stop on rise in the Brinks box itself. Consistent with news announcements, ladies and gentlemen, coming into that daily open test. If they invalidate the daily open itself, then that is yippee-ki-yay to Bitcoin to the downside to come and eat into that psychological high where they were able to last trap more traders in the belief that price was going to go lower. Looks like they do want to have that 20,007 zone, but we are pretty much in the midpoint of the range, 20,600 and 20,700. If you were a market maker and you want to get the most amount of liquidity trapped inside of this zone, you ain't going to do nothing with price until the news comes out. That's the truth right there. Yeah, it's not really going down, bro. Tino, can you explain what a stopping volume candle is? A stopping volume candle is the logic that Mr. Market Maker has encouraged a lot of people to step in at a particular point, whether it's to go long or go short. So look at this. This is a stopping volume candle, okay? Now, the principle says that the market maker has spiked price to the upside and encouraged a plethora of liquidity to come in right here. That can be confirmed with what? Go to Exo charts. Look what happened. In Exo charts, in this candlestick right here, this one, No, it would be this one right here. You had 1.5 million people going long at this point. He didn't want to allow price to continue higher from that zone. So he had to stop the volume from continuing. So he reverses price back down to build more positions, which is where the negative delta comes in. Because if he does favor higher prices, he needs to get his longs filled at lower prices. He ain't going to be doing it at higher prices. That's a mug bet, as they like to say. Okay? Let retail buy at the highest point. Yeah, you're the guys, you guys are the retail traders, okay? But you don't have to think like the average retail trader who buys at the highest point and sells at the lowest point. Business economics doesn't say that should be the case. You don't go into a car dealership and say to them, I want to pay for the car that is increasing in value continuously and I want to sell it back to you at a loss. Doesn't make sense. So why would it be any different in the stock market itself, ladies and gentlemen? Okay, here we go. Now look what we got here. Here we are. We're coming into the next 11 minutes, guys, where we've got news announcements coming in. Can you see? This could turn into a stopping volume candle. Look at how price is moving, man. We've got some interesting movement right now. No worries, Kirkland. Happy days. Don't be... Rupert, you like that one, yeah? You like that one. Don't be a donut. ETC, let's have a look at ETC because we've got a little bit more time. I'm going to stick with you until the news announcements. Then I'm going to be rolling out with the mini market maker because she is going to be going to her first martial arts lesson. She's going to kick some ass, ladies and gentlemen. USDT, let's have a look at Ethereum Classic. What have we got? Look. Problem that you got with Ethereum Classic is it's going to do whatever Ethereum and Bitcoin is going to do. But we got a lovely imbalance up here, which would in principle tell me that there's not been that much pressure to sell from the highs. That's kind of good news. All right. Ethereum has it. It's got the red vector candle up here. All right. But it's showing that's naturally because it trades more. There's more volume. So you would expect that. Okay. But with Ethereum Classic itself, one would make the assumption that the selling pressure is slowing down. Here's an example of the stop and volume candle again, where it's designed to trap traders into the belief one thing is happening, and then he has to control the range to not allow the flow of liquidity to continue higher, because if he does, Mr. Market Maker that's built his shorts in this zone would then be at a deficit because he is obliged to make sure that he fills the orders for traders, which means that he would have to start building more shorts at higher prices, but the trader that's gone long right here, which initially was designed to get trapped, is now taking a profit. Okay? That means Mr. Market Maker doesn't have the liquidity that he can move price back down to and do what he's done right here. So that means he has to now commit more money and move price even higher to make the same guys who are in this trade believe it's going to continue higher so that they can then add to their liquidations and then Mr. Market Maker can snap price back again and eat that liquidity. So in relation to Ethereum Classic itself, my friend, testing of the daily open and the psychological high, these are key confluence points. If price holds, we come up. If it releases and violates this area, we would then fully recover this green vector candle and find the next test of balance in price, which would be inside this zone right here. Your trading ranges, my friend, because price ain't moving until the news actually makes unless the news comes out. All right. Let me just line up my charts, ladies and gentlemen, get this bang. Are you guys enjoying yourselves? It's good to be back, man. Come back into the first week of the markets itself. We've got a busy week ahead of us, ladies and gentlemen. It's a game of high-stakes chicken. You know how it is. You know. This is it. Tron made a big move up. If Tron made a big move up, let's have a look at that move by Tron. Is this going to be an altcoin manipulation? Let's have a look. Yeah, let's have a look at that. Okay. Watch out. Watch out when you see this sort of thing, okay? Coming up towards vector candle zones at speed. Any altcoin that is doing this behavior, unless you are in the trade down here or even down here, okay? Now would be a good time to pay yourself because everyone now is looking at the fact that this coin is so cheap and it's rising up with such strength. Moonboy status has been engaged. Now the trap is happening. Be very careful if you are looking to exploit this. Mr. Market Maker, with what I've just said to you, he's preparing to reverse price by the principle of the vector candle. All right? So wait until the news comes out, then they will react to the news. If they don't react the way you would expect them to react in the news, then this move may still have more freedom to go. But expect a very sharp retrace, especially for an altcoin like this. All right? 7 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. I'm looking forward to this. 7 minutes. What have we got? Looking to short that. Is AVAX following Ethereum today? Let's have a look. Sack Trades, what's happening, my bro? Yes, you know what, ladies and gentlemen? We are approaching that 100K subscribers. That is madness. The Pattern Watchers army is now nearly at 100K. Mad love and respect to all of you people, man. Mad love to you all. You know, it's been a mad year and a half, man. And there's even more madness to be brought to you. We're going to be mixing madness with fire and blaze and volcanic madness in the charts, ladies and gentlemen. I am the loudest crypto streamer there is out there. I'm the fastest speaking crypto streamer out there, ladies and gentlemen. Whether I make sense or not is a different story. That's the truth right there. Whether it makes sense or not. Look at that. 20,250, ladies and gentlemen. They're adding to that 823 Bitcoin. It was only 700 a moment ago. Now we're coming into 850. This could be the stop hunt low. Remember, institutional traders like to pick up orders of buys below the VWAP itself. They've been smacking it all up and down in this zone. They've been selling from this point in preparation to run shorts from the highest point to get ready to run lower. They're going to eat this liquidity down here and then snap up. Now we've got 1,949 Bitcoin at 20,600. So some of that liquidity is starting to go. It was at 2,045 or something. Now we're starting to see a reduction. News announcements will see it, ladies and gentlemen. We got 6 minutes. Please, please do not open any trades before the news comes out. You want to play with fire and guaranteed to get burnt. Do not complain what happens afterwards. Just wait. It's a statistical measure. It's going to come out, information, done. You are then free to do whatever you want because they would have absorbed the impression of the news itself. Okay? Then loads of articles are going to come out and start talking about, oh, Jolts Job Openings is going to be a problem for the Fed if they don't come in. People are got loads of access to work, but they're not actually going into work, or loads of people are going into work. That's going to be a problem for the Fed because they can't control inflation if people are still spending money. You understand the problem that the Fed has? Bitcoin holding that daily open, ladies and gentlemen. Bitcoin holding. All right. 5 more minutes. Let me go over to the dollar index itself. Starting to creep up, ladies and gentlemen. I don't like that. Is the dominance of the dollar starting to creep up? Is it going to show its ugly head? Let's just go on to a higher time frame to understand what they are likely to do. 4-hour time frame. Look at this. This is absolutely despicable, man. What an absolute joke. Coming up to achieve what would be the next hit to the high, that 109 mark one more time. Let's go into the higher time frame. We've got any vector candles up here? Green vector candle, which they've recovered 50% of. Happy days right there, and they've bounced away from it. 10-hour chart, what do we have on there? We've got a gap down, filled that gap, fully recovered the vector, got a nice wick right there. No vectors up here, that's a problem. 12-hour chart, what you got for me? Nothing. 15-hour chart, trading tight in that range. Stopping volume candle right here. 17-hour chart, wicks and wicks and wicks to the upside, wicks to the downside. They are trying to find balance right here, but look at this bad boy, please. If the dominance of the dollar does falter, ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin will not have a problem moving up. We can only take the narrative of the zone. Problem that Bitcoin has is this despicable blue vector candle between the 19,552, which sits at the liquidation zone of $740 million worth of longs at 20,007. Then down here at 19,675, we've got $670 million worth of liquidations. The news is going to tell us where it's going to go. Once we have that perspective, then we'll know exactly what we're likely to be trading into. Remember, the news will be pretty fast. All right. So anticipate some volatility. Once the volatility happens, ladies and gentlemen, New York will achieve one of two things. They'll initiate a reversal to the downside and reverse back up. New York usually hits 2 reversals. So far, we've had the US Brinks reversal up here. The next principle would say that we expect a reversal to happen inside of this zone. OK, so we're aiming for the 20,175 on the bad news. Ladies and gentlemen, look what Bitcoin's doing right now. What is it doing right now? Here we go. We've got an imbalance right there of the wick. Keep an eye. They've eaten that liquidity. There it is, and it's still being eaten. 20,260. They've eaten that liquidity, and they're still adding to it. They've cancelled it, to be fair. Where's the delta right there? 822 Bitcoin. I want to see that stall. News announcements. It could actually reverse, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hoping the news comes in favorable for Bitcoin. Get yourselves ready. Tino has oil topped out. Wait there. News is coming out. Delta's negative. Is this Mr. Market Maker preparing to run along? Let's see if that's going to be the case. Is Mr. Market Maker getting ready to run along? I don't even know what dollar dominance is going to be doing just yet, but we have got the news announcements coming out in less than 2 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Is this Bitcoin's start to move back up? Are they going to use the news? Let's see, ladies and gentlemen. I bet I'm looking forward to this, man. I am looking forward to this madness in the chart, man. Oh, my days. Here we go. Here we go. Delta is coming in negative. So Mr. Market Maker is hitting the bids. Is he trapping retail to go short? Let's see. Keep an eye out. Here we go. Less than a minute, ladies and gentlemen. SPY dropping. Okay, then. News that's coming out is consumer sentiment and the... Where you at? Consumer sentiment and the Jolts Job Openings. 2 types of data coming out. So wait. Do not do anything until both data comes out. Both data sources come out, because they can respond to it differently. US 10 years dropping. US dominance dropping. That's good news. Thank you for letting me know about that. If the 10-year yields are dropping, that's okay for us. We don't want to see that rise. Here we go. 10 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on to your horses. Here we go. Where's the liquidity at? Keep an eye out on this range. Delta's coming in. Here we go. It's going to get busy, going to spike. Here we go. Gap up in Bitcoin. That was a big gap up right there in the chart. Here we go. Is this the reversal point? Come on, BTC. Give me that data. Oh, no. Psychological high could come into play right there. What's the data, guys? 50 people away from 2K. Share the live, ladies and gentlemen. We got some movement happening in the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Let's roll with it. Come on, Bitcoin. Make the move. Remember, Bitcoin is last to move as well. Let's just quickly get the dollar up for a second. Dollar dominance. Coming back down. Euro USD. Sharply up. Gold, what you doing? Gold, where you at? Coming down. No, don't like that. Bitcoin seems to be holding, but Bitcoin is last to move, ladies and gentlemen. Is it going to do it? Is this the reversal point? If it reverses from here, ladies and gentlemen, I will bid you farewell. If it doesn't, I will bid you farewell. Here we go. Test of the daily open. Come on, BTC. Reversal point for New York. Let's roll with it. Recovery of the red wick. Come on, Bitcoin. Make that move. Got some liquidity coming in. They've not hit that. That delta's coming in. 778 Bitcoin at that zone, ladies and gentlemen. Is the delta coming in? Give me my delta. 39%. That's good news for us, but the volume is pretty light. It looks like the market hasn't responded. They're not interested. Look at that. 20 seconds in. We've had a minute in and they've not done anything. That's great news. Is this the reversal point? Ladies and gentlemen, 3 p.m. magic hour. Sit tight. Let's go over to Euro. Not doing anything. Ethereum. Not doing anything. NASDAQ. Coming up slightly. S&P coming up slightly. Yields, where you at? Where are my yields? Yields coming down. Moving up. Where's oil? Oil's taking a nosedive lower, so that means dollar yen's moving up. Dollar CAD's moving up. It's a slow process. Bitcoin may actually go lower. Let's look at the details here. 11.24 million and 103.2. Wow. People are confident and there is an inflation, the likes of the R word. What is going on? 3,000 households which ask respondents to rate the relative level of current and future economic conditions, including labor availability, business conditions, and overall economic situation. Has the market priced it in, ladies and gentlemen? The market looks forward. It doesn't look back. Has the market dismissed that narrative? Does that mean now that people's consumer confidence means that more people are in work? Are we going to see yet another reduction in the unemployment rate? Is that going to be a problem for the Fed, ladies and gentlemen? We're all waiting for Steve's call. Steve ain't calling, man. He called the... It's weird, isn't it? The news is good for the dollar, should be bad for Bitcoin then. Yes, that's correct. Problem is, right, when the news is good for the dollar, usually assets against the dollar usually go down. But you've got the problem of the dominance of the dollar coming in, because usually traders seek the safety of gold, which is why you see gold dropping. Okay? Now, gold is dropping means that traders in principle should be seeking other assets, but what they're seeking is safety, so they're now running to the dollar. Euro USD, dropping. GBP USD, dropping. Aussie CAD and dollar yen, moving up. Bitcoin, now dropping. Okay? That liquidity, static in the chart. It's not going. They did this last week with that 20,800 zone, where they had the liquidity there and then they instantly went back up to it later on. So it looks like the news announcement hasn't done anything other than just solidify the dollar dominance. Bitcoin's last to move. Bitcoin will take its time. Here we go. Now we got movement. Delta coming in, 714. 508. No liquidity down here. Tested the psychological high. All the horses have been pulled up on the last turn. I like that. I do like that. 550 orders down there. It's not. Delta's 44, 53. Finished that pretty quick. But it's not moving too fast. Price ain't moving too fast. There we go. Back into the daily open. Down to test that 200 EMA in the 15-minute time frame. What have we got down here? That 20,007. You think they want that liquidity? Jolts is up. Who is Steve? I'll introduce you guys to Steve very soon. Is this the reversal? Is this the trap? Because if the consumer confidence is up, don't look at the data, look at the impact it's going to have. We're not in those stages now where we can look at the data and trade the data. It's the impact it's going to have. Should be good news that consumer confidence is there. So that means that we don't need to worry about putting money into safety. That means we should start seeking assets against the dollar. That's not the case. 20,007, is it going to eat that liquidity, ladies and gentlemen? $750 million worth of longs are going to get liquidated. New York reversal is pending, ladies and gentlemen. FOMC in 1 hour, bro. Where's that? Oh, okay. FOMC member Williams speaks. Yeah, okay then. Maybe. This is a sad day. They've hit that liquidity near enough, gone into the 20,007, $750 million worth of long liquidations are being eaten. This is the last point that they come to where they bounce from. So if they don't take that liquidity, that will be a surprise. Nasty, isn't it? It's a fast move. Consumer confidence is trying to figure out how to pay the bills. Wow. That is the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, listen. I hope you've learned a thing or two today. I'll be releasing a video later on in line with what we're talking and looking forward to this week in relation to the news announcements yet again. But guys, mad love and respect for passing through to today's live stream. It has been a pleasure. We got lots of work to do, and I'm going to be getting on with that later on today. But guys, if you are new to the channel, be sure to like and subscribe, and a quick notification as well. If you're going to consider joining the Patreon, don't do it until the start of the new month because you will be charged twice. Wait until the start of the new month, being the first, second. That way you're safe and you won't be charged twice. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a pleasure. Mad love and respect, and I'll be checking in with you all later on tonight. Take care of yourselves, family. Peace.